and you need to design the future in a way you reach to your imagination, and you need people who will execute. Thank you very much to the organizers, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. I want to wish everyone a Ramadan Kareem and of course a happy Women's Day. That one comes before the other doesn't assign value to the other. But I want to kind of zero in on one of the themes under which I wanted to discuss today, which is the importance of peace and prosperity as a new foreign policy. Now, I'm from the UAE. In the UAE, I think we became popular recently, and especially in Berlin, because of Dubai chocolate. But beyond that, I think what we've actually managed to bring together is a new political economic model in a time where globalization and the global economic model is under a lot of pressure. You know, if you come back to 20 years ago, there were many people talking very positively about globalization, about free markets, open markets. Those people are nowhere to be found anymore. I think they've all either disappeared or gone on to do new careers. We had a different experience. We had COVID coming, and during COVID, we all know the airport stopped, the tourism stopped, everything came to a standstill. And basically, our flagship airlines couldn't operate for about 90 days because of the closure of the airports. Same thing for tourism, the same thing. We had a huge fall in GDP, 25% during that 1 year. And that forced us to ask the question, okay, how do we imagine ourselves going forward? We had to pivot. And, you know, we come from the Middle East, an area which is unfortunately known for conflict, and we decided to have a radical commitment to peace and deconfliction, to the extent that we would call this policy a radical commitment to peace. You know, the UAE is by design today the only country in the world where you can have an elevator and there's inside the elevator an Israeli, a Palestinian go in, a Russian and a Ukrainian go in, and they emerge. And of course there's a Bayern Munich fan and a Dortmund fan as well. And they emerge all at the top floor, and like nothing happened. You know, this happens in hotels and restaurants, and I think we're especially proud of that. You know, looking at where the world is today, you have the fall of political dialogue and the change in political dialogue that you were referring to. A very harsh political dialogue, especially after we've seen with MSC. But like I said before, there is an attack on globalization. I believe the last place which has a steadfast commitment to globalization, or what will be the last place, will be the UAE. Specifically because it's our economic model. I mean, when you have 90% of the people in your country from other countries, you have no other choice but to radically commit to globalization. The other direction in which we're going, world conflict, different powers talking about each other, doing that in an AI age, right, where people need semiconductors and they need graphic processing units in order to unlock economic growth, countries committing economic espionage against each other to acquire these assets, right? It leads us all in a direction of a new Cold War or worse, if we allow the breakdown of globalization and trade. You know, maybe this is a pessimistic scenario for where we're going, but also we need to start to imagine how the world can look like 20, 30, 40 years from now. I mean, I'm sure many people here have been to Frankfurt, and some of you have driven across the border into France. And if you drive today, you don't imagine that this border there were millions and millions of people who died, so that this border could be 5 kilometers in one direction or 5 kilometers in the other direction. Today, the conflict, the war looks absolutely not only unnecessary, not only not worth it, but actually just a complete and utter waste, you know. So a waste of lives, a waste of resources. That's how we view all conflict today, and we hope that there's a shift in our part of the world. I mean, we have a strong relationship and a big Palestinian community, but we have a peace deal with Israel, which we concluded in 2020. Because of this belief that if you start to do trade, then you can start to have a bridge between you and the other side, and actually contributed positively. I mean, we're the biggest provider of aid into Gaza. Wouldn't be impossible without our relationship with the Israelis and the trust on the Palestinian and Gazan side. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, looking at Europe, looking at, you know, where we are in outside of Berlin. I mean, there were American bombers flying over these skies 80 years ago, bombing this city. It's very hard to imagine. It's very hard to make that link, right? That was actually the fact. But that was how the world was. So if we cannot imagine that, let's at least imagine a world in which we bring back globalization, we bring back trade, we bring back through difficult decisions, you know. It wasn't easy for us to have a peace deal with Israel. It's not easy for us to get along with some of our neighbors in the region. But, you know, sometimes you just have to imagine a peace and find a way to make it work. You know, it's like any relationship that you have, whether personal or professional. And the world belongs to those who solve their conflicts, you know. That's our experience, at least. So maybe in closing, I will say, you know, we have a very popular saying in the UAE that the future belongs to those who imagine it, design it, and execute it. This is on the top of every government building. If you cannot, you need to imagine the future honestly, and you need to design the future in a way you reach to your imagination, and you need people who will execute. So in that regard, you know, I want to thank everyone involved in every single peace process, every single dialogue. You know, it's not about having the presidential level meetings. It's about people coming together and speaking positively about the issue. Every conversation pushes us closer to getting there, no matter how, at what level, at what dialogue. So in that, let me close by thanking you all, and again, wishing you a Ramadan Kareem and a productive, successful conference together. Thank you.